Hey everybody, welcome to another screencast about getting started with Canvas. Today we're going to talk about the platform and the different views that you are going to see when you work with Canvas. There are about 4 different major areas of Canvas that you will encounter. The first, when you log in, is the dashboard. So that's your landing space. That is an area that will give you access to your courses as well as other tools and different areas in Canvas. The global view is the view where you can access tools and resources that are outside of your course. Most of your work is going to be done within the course, and so we're also going to look at the course view. And then finally, we're going to look at the student view, which is really helpful and very important. It's very easy to toggle the student view on and take a look at what your students see when they're in the course. Now we're ready to take a closer look at the dashboard. The dashboard is all about you. What you see in the dashboard is information about what's currently going on in the Canvas community as it relates to you. So you'll get recent activity, you'll get notifications about things that are happening in your courses, and you'll also have a to-do list. So something that might show up on your to-do list, for example, might be a reminder about grading because students have turned in work. That's going to be reflected in your dashboard, and you'll get a reminder that there are papers or assignments that are ready to be graded. So the dashboard is your landing page. It's all about you. Okay, the next view we're going to talk about is the global view. And there are a lot of different things that you can do from the global view reflected in the menu across the top of the page. And you have access to many different parts of Canvas from the global view. In this case, global view means everything that sits outside of the course in the learning management system. So we're not going to talk about everything that you can do from the global view, but I do want to show you a few things that are high points and that will also get you started in exploring further the different things that you can do in Canvas. So what I want to show you first off is the access from the global menu to your profile. If you look at the top right of the global menu, you'll see your name, and that's where you get to your profile. So if you click on your name, that'll take you to your profile. The information in your profile is the information that Canvas has about you. I want to call your attention to the email address. In the right side, there are ways to contact you, and you want to be sure that the email address that's set here in your profile is the email address that you want Canvas to associate with you. And so if students want to communicate with you through Canvas, you can select which email you want to have Canvas use to notify you about that communication or about those notifications. You'll also see that there's a star next to your selected email address. That's the email address that you want Canvas to use to communicate with you. You can add other email addresses. By default, the email address that's there is your CSU email address. But if you want, you can add a different email address that you use more often. In addition to your email, you can also tell Canvas that you'd like to be contacted in certain circumstances via text. But how does Canvas know what you want to be contacted about? You can set that in your profile area. If you go to the left menu and click on Notifications, then you will come to the notification preferences. On the left side of the notification preferences, there's a list of different course activities that Canvas can notify you about. And then on the right side, you'll see the different ways in which Canvas can notify you, by email or by text. Within each box on the matrix, you can select when you want to be notified about those things. You can select that you want to be notified as soon as possible. You can want to be notified in summary at the end of the day, or you want to be notified in summary at the end of the week. You can also tell Canvas that you don't want to be notified about this activity at all. An example for me is that I would want to receive an administrative notification as soon as possible by text. And that's how you set up your notification preferences. Okay, so moving from notifications, The other item that you can access in the global view is your inbox. Your inbox is your email, your internal Canvas email. The internal Canvas email is called Conversations, and it's set up like most other email. And we'll talk about Conversations in an additional screencast. But for now, take note that you can access Conversations, your email, by clicking on your inbox in the global menu. Other things in the global menu that I want to bring your attention to: you can access the grades for all of your courses through the global menu. From within the course, you access the grade for the course that you're in, but there might be occasions when you want to look at the grades from all of your courses, and you get there through grades here in the global menu. You may also want to access your calendar. The calendar is a global tool. Anytime you go to the calendar, whether you go there from the course or from the global menu, you're going to see your entire calendar. You're going to be able to access the calendar from any course that you're teaching, as well as your personal calendar. And so that's why you can get to the calendar from the global menu. Please note that you can also get to your calendar from within any course. And when you're in the calendar, you'll select the particular calendar that you want to look at, or you'll look at the calendar for all of your courses together along with your personal calendar. We'll look at the calendar in more detail in another screencast. And then finally, from your global menu, you can reach your courses. And so if you click on the courses, you'll see a list of courses. You can indicate to Canvas which courses you want to see at the top, and those courses will appear when you click on the drop-down menu. But you can also look at all of your courses over time by selecting View All. Now we're ready to take a look at the course view. So as we go into a course, we'll go into one here, we're going to see a general layout, and this layout is going to be consistent throughout most of the courses. So to get a good understanding of how a course is put together in Canvas and the course view, its tools, and its resources, let's take a good look at the way that the course view is laid out. Just like with most other websites or print publications, Canvas is laid out into containers. And inside of each container, you'll find content. That content might change over time, but if you understand how the system is laid out, then you'll always know where you are, or you'll be able to find where you are. At the top of the page, you'll see the global menu, and this menu gives you access to those things that you may need that are outside of the course. And then in the left-hand column of the page, you'll see your navigation. And the navigation, once you establish that, is not likely to change. So that's a pretty consistent area of the page. At the top of the navigation, you'll see the name of the course so that you can always check in to where you are. In the center of the page, for the most part, you're going to see the primary content. It might go from the center to the right or from the center to the left. Your primary content may actually take up the entire page, but when you look at the center of your page, that's going to be your content area. Just above your content area is a very thin container that contains your breadcrumb navigation. And so this will help you go back one or two steps, just like breadcrumbs. You'll be able to follow your way back. And then on the right side of the page, the container holds your course tools and resources. This container provides access to tools and resources that apply to whatever content is currently being shown. Your tools and resources for different areas of the course may change depending on what content is showing in the center container. Okay, so this is it. This is the course view. This is what your course looks like when you open it. You'll always open to the home page. You'll be able to customize the home page, so you can open to a social stream, very much like your dashboard, or you may want to open to modules or assignments, or you might want to make a custom home page. Now that you have a good bird's eye view of how the course is laid out, we can start talking about more of the specifics of the course, including the course tools, where they are, how you use them, and how all of the course tools work together in order to create the kind of learning experience that you want to provide for your students using these tools. The fourth view that we want to look at today is the student view. The student view is really important. It allows you to see what the students see as they're going through the course. And so do make use of this tool as you're putting things together. The way that you get to the student view is through settings. So if you go to the left-hand navigation menu at the bottom and click on settings, you'll go into all of the course settings. Now, we want to cover these settings in some greater detail in another screencast, but for now, this is how you get to this view. So you'll see under course details at the top right is a button called Student View. So you go ahead and click on that view, and then you'll see that you've gone to the home page. And the reason for that is that the students can't see course settings. So you are clearly now looking at the course through the student's eyes, and you can go through and see how things are going. You can also test specific things as you're doing your work by going to Student View. If you're in Student View, you have to remember that you're there. So if you decide you want to change something or use the tools that you're accustomed to using as the instructor and you can't, you might be in Student View. So scroll to the bottom of your page, and at the bottom of the page you'll see you are currently logged into Student View. And so just go ahead and click on Leave Student View and you'll be back to your view and you'll have access to the tools that you have as the instructor. So that brings us to the end of this screencast. I hope that going through the way that Canvas is laid out and all of these views will help you make your way through Canvas as you get started in creating whatever learning experience you're going to create using these tools.